Hey guys, this is Louis. If you're new to my channel and if you're watching this for the first time, if you look back on my updates on the current build that I'm doing, the KV1, you will notice that I speak about some holes in this kit that are on the bottom of the tank. The kit doesn't come with anything that covers them. Apparently this was like some kind of RC body that they used, because you guys can see here it has placement for batteries and stuff. So I don't know, but they should have included something, you know, to cover them. The rules that I'm doing this build for is pretty much based on IPMS rules. I might be wrong, but you know, what I'm doing is I'm part of a Flory Models group build called the Tamiya out of the box build, which the rule says you gotta build a kit out of the box. You cannot add any kind of aftermarket products. You cannot do any modifications to the kit unless it's something like this. Hands from Flory Models. I emailed them and asked him if I could do this. He said, yes, go ahead, feel free to cover those holes, but just an advice to you, he said, if you were to enter this and at IPMS, depending on the judge, he might say, no, you cannot, that doesn't count as an open box kit now, but it's one of those gray areas. But anyway, so what I did was I took this styrene sheet that I have from a company called Evergreen. They sell these styrene sheets, and as you guys can see, all I did I sanded down. I mean, I cut the pieces a little bit bigger than what it is that will actually shape is. So you guys can see here. There, you guys can see it. What I did after that is I put them in there, you know, sanding them down to make them fit a little tight in there. Then I took some putty that I made with a Squadron putty diluted with Testers or Model Masters plastic glue. You can dilute it with that. You can dilute it with cellulose thinners, or like we call it here, lacquer thinners. The problem with using this is that it might attack the plastic. It depends on the kit you're doing. So far, nothing has happened to me, but it's just an advice. If you're gonna thin it with glue, just be careful with that. Now, I've seen people using this, the Tamiya's extra thin cement, to thin it, and it works fine with that. So what I did is I just, you know, placed it on top of the gaps, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna sand it down. If you guys remember, there was a seam line here that's no longer there since I got the okay. I actually worked on that. If you guys could see that, it's nice and shiny. You may see these little scratches, and after I'm done sanding, you might still get these little tiny scratches. You don't have to worry about that because that's gonna be covered with primer. Primer is gonna act as a little, you may say, like micro filler. It's gonna fill all these tiny little scratches. If you were to touch here, it's completely smooth. You cannot feel anything. Now, when you're using putties, my advice to you, especially, you know, putties that you're, shall we say, like hand making, you gotta be patient. I got too excited last night and I started working on this hole right here. And even though it seems okay, if you were to put it on the light, and I don't know if I can show you guys, let me see. Yeah, if you were to put it on the light, let me zoom you in so you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, now let me turn this off. And if you, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a hole right there. There's a hole right there. If I put my finger near it, that hole, what happened was the putty wasn't covered. I mean, wasn't cured. So what I did is when I started sanding, I apologize for this, guys, but I don't have two cameras, you know. So the putty wasn't cured enough. So when you start sanding, if the putty is still fresh, you're gonna start pulling material off. So now I have to fill this up again, but I wanted to continue on. So this has been curing for about 24 hours, and it should be fine. If not, if we're gonna get a little hole like that and all that stuff, what I'm gonna be using is super glue as a filler. What you need is the medium, not the thin, but the medium super glue, and this is just regular CA glue. Even says on the label here, and this is the generic. You guys can find these everywhere here in the States, in any hobby center and stuff. You guys can see I got this from one of my local hobby stores, and then this is another one. It's the same manufacturer, it's just generic. And then what you do is you just put a little bit of CA glue and throw some kicker on that, and then you can sand it right away. Now, so I'm gonna show you guys this, how I'm gonna be sanding this off. Sorry I'm talking too much, but these are things that you have to know before. You have to let this cure, otherwise it's just gonna be a mess and you're gonna have to do more work. So you just gotta be a little bit patient, otherwise this is gonna happen to you. So let me show you guys how I sand this. I'm gonna be fast forwarding the video. That way you guys see the speed progress. What I'm gonna be using is pretty rough. I want to say this is about 600 grit, you know, maybe like 650, 600, and I'm gonna be using that. When you're sanding this, don't put any pressure. You don't want to dig down onto the plastic because you're gonna be damaging the plastic. You just let the file do its job, you know, or the sponge, whatever you're using, and just work that down until you see that it's flush with the plastic. So we keep going here, and I'm holding it like this because of the video, but you could just keep going like this. So you start to see that it's flush with the plastic, as you guys can see. I'm getting there. Okay. Now you guys can see it's getting flush to the plastic. We can start to see, you know, where the styrene is, so it gives you an idea of what areas you have to work on. For example, here I have to sand a little more. Here I could leave alone because I'm starting to see where the gap is. So I'm gonna move to the other section and then work on the different spots. So this is gonna be boring if I just show you guys in real speed how I do this. What I'm gonna be doing after that is I'm gonna be getting these sanding sponges, and you can get these at any beauty supplies store, and it comes usually with 4 different, you know, grits and stuff, and yeah, these come really handy, you know. There's a lot of companies out there that, you know, they sell sanding sponges or files and stuff, and you know, use whatever you want. But if you want to save some money, you just go to a beauty supply store and buy these nail files, and yeah, they work great. So let me keep on working on this, and I'm gonna put some music on the background, you know, like I usually do, and then I'll show you guys the final result. Okay. Alright guys, so here we go. Now I don't know if you can see that, but it's really shiny. What I did is I buffed it, you know, went like that, buffed it with the buffing side of the sponge, and it, you know, have a feel, you know, feel and see if you feel any lumps or anything like that. Now this is on the bottom of the tank, so this is probably gonna be covered with mud anyway. So I'm not too worried about it. These scratches that you guys see here, all those little scratches, they're smooth to the touch. You can still see them because they're filled with that dust. But the primer acts as a microfiller, like I said. Well, I don't know if I said it earlier, but the primer acts as a microfiller, so it fills up all these little scratches. But I can see that, you know, it's nice and flush. I'm not gonna need any filler, but this is the final result. Okay, so just work, put some elbow grease onto it. I mean, and you're gonna have a nice smooth surface. If I was working on a piece of aircraft, and you know, then you could, after doing this, you could re-scribe wherever you need to do. But luckily for me, this is just a flat surface on the bottom. I just wanted to cover these holes mainly, but I thought I'd show you guys this. Hopefully you learned something. Remember, you can make putty with diluting just the squadron putty with glue. You can dilute it with thinner and stuff. Phil Flory, for example, what he does is he just takes a bottle and puts a little bit of putty right here, and then he just takes a little bit of thinner and uses that as a filler. Another advice that I give you, or that you should know about filler, especially in squadron putty, is that after a while it shrinks down. So it might look fine right now, but you know, you go ahead and you paint it, and come back and you realize that it shrunk. So my advice to you is wait a couple of days, see if anything changes, and if you see that it has a sinkhole, then you put more putty, or you can use, like I said, the glue. But I hope you guys learned something. If not, I hope you found this entertaining. I thought I'd show you guys this for a change. This is the type of stuff that me as a subscriber I would like to see. I would like to see people working in hard, you know, areas like this where you have to fill a gap, or you have to do some modification, minor modifications to the model. Sorry I talk too much, but it's one of those things that you have to explain what you're doing. You can just show it without, you know, letting you guys what I did. So that's what we have. I'm really happy with the result. I'm going to be checking it with paint. You can use the paint to check it and see if you have any more gaps that you need to fill. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. I'll watch you guys on the next update. Bye bye.